Hello and welcome to Paranormal Path Peeps. And tonight I'm speaking to Phil Barron. How are you doing?
Hi, I'm brilliant. Thanks, Jack. How are you?
I'm fine, thanks.
Good.
I guess I sort of wanted to speak to you because I'm kind of intrigued about East Drive, and you've been there a few times. Well, obviously.
Once or twice.
How many? Yeah, exactly. So yeah, I thought we'd have a chat about it. And obviously, I've been to Pontefract now. I've had a selfie outside the door, which you've got to do, and yeah, I will make it indoors one day. But um, but I just kind of wondered, like I always start off sort of asking, sort of how you started within sort of the paranormal side of things.
I suppose I'm going to give my age away here, but many years ago, I always used to watch things like Arthur C. Clarke. I used to
Wow.
read Explain and all that sort of thing. And I've always had a bit of an inkling that I just liked weird and wonderful things. And then about 22, 3 years ago, I took my wife away for a bit of a weekend away. It was her birthday. And the first night we went to a hotel. And the second night I booked a ghost hunt at the Feathers at Ludlow. Didn't know
All
anything
right.
about it, had no idea what to uh, think was going to happen. It was just something exciting. I went and did this ghost hunt, and there were so many really interesting things that happened. I came away with more questions than answers. I was
Yeah.
really blown away with the things that were going off, and I thought, what's just happened? What was all that about? So he ended up doing another one somewhere else a few weeks later on, and there was more questions than answers again. And before you know it, it's just a big snowball effect, and you're just hooked. You just ghost hunting most weeks, you ghost hunting most months, you go into some amazing places. Still not getting any answers because nobody has the right answers, do they? But I was
That's
just
right.
absolutely hooked. And then round about 10 years ago, I was at East Drive, funny enough, doing an
Oh
event. I
wow.
was actually on my own by then because we had children. So it was a case of I was out there on my own. And I was at an event at East Drive with Hazel at the Haunted Happenings crew. And she turned to me and said, "You need to come and work for us." And I sort of just
Oh.
chuckled and I laughed it off with her. She went, "No, really?" And that's where that started. So 10 years later, I'm still hosting events for Haunted Happenings all over the place and really privileged for doing what I do and loving it.
Yeah, it's incredible. I recently, it's the first time ever I got speaking to Hazel, and
Wow.
yeah, she is amazing. I know she's been to Parameet for the last couple of
Yeah.
years, but I actually sat with her and was chatting to her with Barry John as well, and yeah, like the stories, and yeah, amazing lady, and yeah, and she's lovely with the team as well, isn't she?
Oh, do you know what?
Which,
You
oh, the
couldn't
team are brilliant.
the whole Haunted Happenings team, and I'm not just saying that because I have to. Everybody's amazing. Everybody gets on with everybody else. Everybody's fantastic, and it's just like a massive family. And I think that's what makes it work. And obviously, Hazel's the boss. She's just lovely with everybody. Absolutely.
Yeah,
And
yeah, I did
I can't forget,
notice,
sorry,
like
Alex and Zoe in the office as well. They do an amazing job. They've just done Halloween, so yes, I had to mention them.
it's incredible. Oh, here we go. Category paranormal. Hiya.
Aha! Hello, Emily.
Emily, I've invited Emily as well if she wants to speak because she's just got her own page. So everybody
Yes,
support category paranormal.
indeed.
And thanks so much, Nigel, as well from the North Pole. Thank you. And
Thanks,
hi,
Nigel.
Carl, Natasha, and Andy. Thanks for watching, everyone. So yeah, so that first event, then what happened?
I remember being in one of the rooms and we did something called table tipping. And in those days, I
Yeah.
had no idea what all that was about, but
Yeah,
you
we
went along
didn't,
with it.
did we? Yeah, that's
Yeah.
right.
And then the table was sort of moving, and there was like three or four of us on there. And I'm thinking, oh, some of these other people are pushing it. I don't know who they are. They must be pushing it.
Yeah.
And then it ended up with being just me and my other half. And I'm thinking, well, I know I'm not pushing it, and I trust her not to push it. And it sort
Yeah.
of pushed me up against the wall. And then we sort of turned around and we saw like a shadow of a little person sort of like run down the wall. And I was just gobsmacked.
Wow.
And I stopped trying to think, right, how have they done that? How's that happened? And I couldn't answer it. And then we did some dowsing as well. And the dowsing rods, and I know they're very subjective, but I was being very careful, and then the equipment was going off, and they were answering. My mind was blown, absolutely blown.
Yeah, that's right. One of the first table tipping I did. Um, I was there and it was moving and it looked genuine and I thought it was genuine. Someone filmed it. And then, like, the medium who'd organised the event said it wasn't, it was all faked. And it's like, oh my gosh, because I was on social media going, this is genuine. And yet they could see, obviously after it, and it's like, oh, and it's like, oh, okay. So it's kind of made me back off a bit on a lot of those because, oh, people, you've got to know the people, haven't you, really? And it, you've got to watch people's fingers on it. It's first time I'd ever done it. I'd never heard of it before either, and it's just one of those, isn't it?
I think it's like you say. I mean, there's a lot to be said for it. You stood in the dark. You're going to naturally move slightly in the dark. You can't help it. You're going
Yeah,
to move your hands a little bit. You can't help it. And you can count for that, but it's very, very difficult. I mean, there's ways and means. We do things like getting people to take their hands off and take it in turns.
yeah, that's
There's lots of
right.
ways of doing it, but I can understand that. In the early days, I never used to do table tipping, glass, Ouija, because I think, well,
Yeah,
somebody's going to push it. I don't know
yeah.
them. Obviously, it does happen sometimes, but so does spirit.
Oh gosh, yeah, because there's a couple of noticeable encounters I've had. One was at a place called what was called the Barracks in Derby. That's what the name was, but there is another barracks in Derby. There
Right.
is a real one, and basically I did it, and the glass just shut off and smashed, and it just went with some force, and it just and with the table tipping at the old school as well, Hazel had.
Yeah.
So I was there one night, and the table walked across the corridor. And then it seemed like there's an old gentleman, like he was using it as a Zimmer frame. So it's like being used as a walking aid, it seemed, at first. And then
Yeah.
all of a sudden, something else appeared, and it's really powerful and strong. You could see the change in energy on it. And that was just going down that long corridor and around the corner.
I think
And
it does take a lot to get people to not necessarily believe, because that's not what our job is. We're not here to make
that,
people
oh
believe.
gosh, no, that's
But
right.
I've had people before now that's going, can I have a look under your table? Is it remote
Oh,
control? And I'm like, you can look at anything I've got. I can honestly tell you, I bought it from, I think it was IKEA. It cost me £8, and they're like, oh, right, okay. So, and I think I had once in the old Drakelow tunnels, which is quite a few
oh,
years ago. I
don't. I love
know.
that place. Oh
There
my
was four
gosh.
ladies there that had never done it before. And in the second vigil, they did table tipping, and I had a REM pod out. And they were adamant that REM pod was the remote control for the table. And then when they checked it all out and realised it wasn't, they actually left. They were that frightened, they left. I was like,
That's
oh, okay.
right.
Yeah. It's all
Yeah.
good fun. It's all good fun.
Oh, it is, isn't it? So, shout out to Nigel's group because he always supports me. So, Nigel's on People Ghostly Hunt Live, so he always supports me. He's probably
Hi,
gone now,
Nigel.
bless him.
Thanks.
But thank you. And I've only ever witnessed one table tipping. It looked very good, and those at the table running around in circles in both directions. But the guy in charge of the table clearly had his thumbs under a table, and that's it. If you sort of see that, it can be off putting, but there's times when you do really see it happening, or you kind of know that something's around it. But yeah, it's like if you see it's if you see someone's white fingers because of pressing it, it makes fingers go white, sort of thing. So
Yeah.
if you are sort of doing an event, you sort of keep an eye out, and if it does look ropey, then you just ask somebody to step back for a bit and give someone else a chance to get in or something, and then see how
Absolutely.
much it changes.
And that's
Yeah,
it. And I think there's
that's the
also a
one,
lot.
isn't it?
There's a lot to be said as well. If something's happening and it's not real, just say it. Be open and
Yeah.
honest about it, because that just makes it better. That people think, oh right, yeah. Do you know what? They are legitimate. They're not going to try and fake us. And I think there's a lot to be said for that.
Yeah, that's right. I was hosting somewhere. I'm not there now. Um, and this girl got possessed, as she
Okay.
often did, and she was there tapping, and I just took the rip out of her. I just said something, and it's like, oh, and everyone just laughed because it's just ridiculous. You know what I mean? Like, She's just sitting there rocking and tapping. It's like,
Yeah.
yeah. But yeah, it was my mistake because I knew that she kind of had issues, and then I decided to hold a seance, and it's like, oh no, no.
You
But
let her
yeah,
in.
that was quite a few years ago. So yeah, you don't.
We're all different
Hey,
for a reason. Hey, hey ho.
hey. That's it, isn't it? But you just knew it, like you kind of like tried to keep away from it. Then you do. So, I was like, oh, no, I forgot. And you thought, yeah, I'll just take the rip out of her in public because, yeah, let the guests think what we're like. And look, this is a bit dodgy. I love seeing everyone's face change. I think that's a big indicator between real and influence. Yeah,
Exactly.
exactly. It's like you mentioned Draco, and there's a point that we did. Oh, I can't remember who it was and when it was, but there's a bit where you've got like the corridors are in a cross and the sort of meet, and we're all
Yes.
in that bit.
Yeah.
And there's a guy who was skeptic. Oh, we've just still done. Yeah, I was I was on a tryout there, and this was that one. And
Right.
we got this skeptic to stand down the corridor. So at each of the 4 bits of corridor, we've got somebody to stand down. His friends are great. I sort of said to Spirit, "Can you go and tap him on the shoulder?" So he'd like come along. Oh, it's a laugh. Don't believe in any of this. You know what I mean? Well, yeah. So there he was. Something tapped him on the shoulder. He came legging it to us, nearly screaming, petrified. It's just so funny, isn't it?
Well, it is, but I think as well that's the buzz, isn't it? If you can get somebody to experience something that you know can
That's
happen,
right.
it's just fab. I think that's just
Yeah,
makes
it's
the night, doesn't
priceless,
it?
isn't it?
Mm.
And like, there's no way you could have heard us because it is quite a distance, and
It
they
is.
get the voices low, and yeah, that place it just hid sounds, didn't it, as well?
I think it hit the spot with everything because of what it was, the history behind
Oh,
it, and because it was just pitch black and it was under like a bit of a mountain, sort of you couldn't get any
yeah,
signals. There was never going to be any cross contamination. It was a great
that's
place.
right.
It really was.
And it's a fear of getting lost.
There is that as well. Yeah, I do remember. I actually took somebody with me once. I can't remember what it was, and I think there's like 4 roads, isn't there? And they cross each other. And I
Oh
went
yeah,
right into the furthest top corner, and you just couldn't hear anything or anybody. And you get that moment of realization, thinking, "I hope I can find my way back." Wonder which hole I
yeah,
went through. I can't remember, but yeah, it was a great place. Great place.
yeah. That was the problem because I was on my first event trying out, and we we were there, me and another guy. We had to stand at the back and make sure we didn't lose the guests.
Yeah.
Some were taking photos for too long, and we lost the pack.
Oh, oh dear.
And we
And then you've got
came
to
out the
wonder if you know where
room,
you're going.
and we couldn't hear anyone. And they
Oh
got
dear.
through the ladies' toilets and the through that way. Well,
Yeah.
how the hell? We had no idea you could do that.
And I think that was it, isn't it? But then you've got to try and keep a straight face and not frighten them, thinking, "Yeah, we know where we're going. We're not lost. We know what we're doing." Trying to look
Yeah,
round all the corners for the right door. Yeah,
yeah. So then we're charging up and down the tunnels. It was
give
fun.
them an extra bit.
Yeah, yeah. But I didn't
Oh
make it.
dear.
I failed the audition, the trial.
You
Obviously, it
lost
just
some
went wrong.
guests.
Well, we didn't lose them. We just lost the pack. So we stayed with the guests. That was the thing, wasn't it?
Absolutely. As long as they're safe and you're keeping them with you, then yeah.
Well, yeah, we were safe. We didn't know where we were. Uh, yeah, I think what was it? 55 miles or 5.5 miles? 5.5 miles of tunnel, wasn't it,
Yeah.
or something?
Yeah.
And like, it's just the thought of that. I didn't like underground places anyway. I freaked out at caves and underground places.
I
Yeah, I
think
know it's gone. It's gone now, Carl. I don't know what was happening, but I heard it. So I think that's gone. For some reason, my voice was coming through twice,
oh, spooky. Hmm.
but I think it's stopped now, Carl, because I was hearing it. It's like, oh, okay.
Who's that? I couldn't hear it. Oh, okay.
Yeah, I hope it's stopped now. Yeah, it is so fascinating. But you have been to some incredible places, haven't you?
Do you know what? I'm so privileged. Yeah. Do you know? I've been up and down the UK. I've actually been abroad as well.
Oh wow,
We went to Romania, to
the
Hoyabachi,
castle.
the castle, the haunted
Oh,
forest. Oh,
I
we
saw
spent.
that trip. Yeah.
It was honestly, it was absolutely amazing. Being in the forest at night with infrared cameras and hearing things walking
Oh
around us and
God.
seeing things coming up in front of us, and it was an amazing trip. It was really good. So, but yeah, then the UK is just as good.
Well, it is. Yeah, because I yeah I don't know why. No idea about the sound issue at all. I'm getting jealous. Might get a
Sorry.
chance. But, I don't know why there's a sound issue, but sometimes you find that you do get weird sounds and you sometimes do get extra voices thrown in, don't you, Andy? Like you've spotted one or two extra voices coming in when I'm on call, and it's just
Mm.
strange, isn't it, how these things happen? But yeah, oh wow, it must be amazing to go abroad though and like deal with the guests and everything.
Yeah, and
It's
it was
quite
quite fun.
stressful.
Do you know what? It wasn't as daft as it sounds. It was another, Hazel, she put it all together amazingly. There was
Yeah.
probably about 6 team members and probably 6 or 7 guests. So the ratio
Oh,
was
okay.
brilliant. And some of the
Yeah.
guests actually ended up becoming team. So the
Brilliant.
whole group as a whole, they were all there for the right reasons. They were all there doing the right things. We enjoyed it all. Everybody got on, and it was a brilliant time. I'd
Oh,
go tomorrow. I really would. I'd go tomorrow again. So very lucky.
that's wonderful.
Very
Yeah.
lucky.
Yeah, because I was looking to book go a visit to the castle a couple of years ago, and uh, but then I saw like if you book on a tour, like you just got everyone queuing to get in,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
it's like, yeah, okay, you don't really want that, do you?
No.
So
No.
you just want a bit of quiet and just to go around.
And I think that's it sometimes. There's that many people, there's a noise pollution. And, we managed to do a
Oh
little
God,
bit of ghost hunting during the day, but not so many. Not so much as it.
yeah, that's right. Yeah, it's like I've had a little like drive through Wales and been to one or two places. So had adventures. I've not actually got in any. I didn't get into the Denbigh Asylum, but I actually spoke to locals, and it's incredible what my thoughts are on the place and what the locals think of the place. In fact, learned quite a bit this weekend.
And I think you might not have, if you would have gone in, you might not have got half the things that you got from speaking to the locals and all that
Yeah,
sort of stuff if you'd have managed to get in. But it's a balance, isn't it? It is a
yeah.
balance.
So you drive along a road, you slam your car into a farmer's turning point and just stand there and hope he doesn't come along. And then you just stand there like with a camera facing it, and then this bloke just oh yeah, oh you're looking at, yeah I am, I'm interested, beautiful architecture. And then you hear his story, and it's like absolutely incredible. And
Just,
like everyone I met, I went to the castle and said, yeah, I've come here for a viewpoint of the asylum. Oops. But yeah, the
should have
castle
got
was
some kit
interesting
out.
as well.
Get a few bits of kit out. You'll soon get them all involved, Jackie.
Oh yeah, I have to do, to be fair, but I, I was trying to because I'd been to the Welsh I'm a Celebrity Castle, um because I'd been there, and I got back to tent about 4:15. I had a drink to about 5, then tried to sleep. The girls woke me up at 7.
Oh, dear.
I had a bit of a late sort of I moved quite late in the end.
I don't blame
But
you if you had 2 hours sleep. Goodness me.
I know it happens, doesn't it?
It does.
But uh, oh yeah, voice you recognise.
Well, indeed. Or it says your name or
Yeah,
something crazy like that. I think we've all had that experience. I think it's a very
yeah, that's
interesting thing
right.
area.
Yeah, it happened to me recently. Hi, Mary. Hope you're well. Mary's going to be on very soon. I think next week. So,
Hi, Mary.
from Things Neverland. So, yeah, it'd be great to speak to you. But yeah, I've actually had somebody just mention my name like a few weeks ago, the end of September. First, doing a public event, Newstead Abbey, and straight away, I sort of there's this lady I'd sort of picked up on, who basically gone in a room to be quiet. Then all of a sudden we arrived trying to ask her questions. So it's like, oh my gosh. And I thought, well, like you're hosting an event, you've got an area, and it's like, well, we can't really move anywhere.
Yeah.
So it was kind of awkward.
Oh
And
gosh.
so you kind of apologetic to it. And then as I left the building, a female voice shouted, "Jackie." And it
Wow.
was so clear. I looked behind me, and Amanda, who was with she looked behind her looking for who was saying Jackie. And
So
she
she
said,
heard it
"Oh,
as well.
yeah, she heard it as well."
Wow.
And she was the only female behind me.
That's cool.
And
That's impressive.
so
That.
it's not my family, because they would have said Jacqueline. And
Oh,
straight away they wouldn't have said that. So
no.
it's
So
crazy, isn't it?
that's crazy that somebody else behind you actually heard the name being called as well.
Yeah, that's right.
Oh, that is
It
really cool.
it was so clear, because I turned and I didn't say anything. And it's Amanda who said, "Someone said your name, Jackie." So, what I mean? Just to get that verification is absolutely amazing, isn't it? Oh God, fireworks! Yeah, that's what happened in Wales as well. But luckily, I just got back from the ghost hunt, so when the big one did go off, I was awake. But
You're still awake
doesn't
anyway.
help all the campers, does it?
No.
Yeah, I've got my light on in the tent, so I hope they don't think it was me. But I
Letting
was
fireworks
awake,
off.
Yeah, but yeah, it's So you've been to so many locations. What's your favourite?
Oh my gosh, that's such a difficult question. You know this, Jackie.
I
Yeah.
know. I have about 3, so
I
top
think
3 then.
top 3. Then let's go for top 3. So top 3's got to be probably Newsham Park,
Not been.
Warwick Castle, and
Oh, beautiful, yeah.
As much as I don't know, probably East Drive. And I know
Yeah.
that's a bit unusual because of the amount of time I spent there. I can't tell you why. It's just up there. It really
Yeah.
is.
I sort of get that. Yeah, it's got a grey lady there. I think that might have been who I was connecting to. So she was in King Charles's bedroom. Charles's bedroom, not King. I can't remember Charles's bedroom anyway. So, because Barry John actually works there as well, he sort of said who it might have been. So, if I do get to go back, which I should be, then I can sort of try and find out more as time sort of goes on. But
Pick a little bit more
incredible.
than where you left.
Yeah, family favorite changes every week, and it does, doesn't it? Warwick Castle. Oh yeah. So I went. There's just 14 of us, and it was incredible. It really was. And it's the first time I met Gary Fields, and he scared the hell out of me.
Oh, did
really
he?
did. Yeah.
What did he do?
Well, he made me sort of come out of everything. I was like, so he walked to the room, and I was going, "Oh, here's this. I've got 26 minutes of me chatting of what was in the room, and it's all going out on social media, which I didn't realise at the time."
Oh, dear.
And like, I sort of went back to my tent and then realised, oh my God, there's me being a medium right on social media. And I was like horrified because I couldn't do that with spirit at all then. But yeah. Well,
I do remember my first visit to Warwick. I actually went as help. It was one of my first 2 ghost hunts I did with Haunted Happenings.
Oh, wow.
And I remember them saying to me, we were doing a sort of an intro, and they went, "Right, Phil, will you take the returners just upstairs and do a little bit of a returners visual while we do like a workshop with all the new people?" And I was like, yeah. And at this point, one of my phobias is I don't like mannequins. And I certainly don't like them if they move and things like that. Now, I had no idea there was mannequins in Warwick Castle.
Oh, yes.
So I don't know if you know it. I walked up the 2 little stairs, and there's like a big corridor with a few rooms off it. And right at the end, it was a little girl dressed in white pointing, which I didn't know them at the point. I absolutely frightened myself to death. I'm trying to compose myself with these like 8 or 9 guests that's with me, and I'm absolutely terrified, thinking, can anybody else see that down there? And then I realised it was just a mannequin, and they were in all the rooms. I was like,
Oh my
oh my
God,
gosh.
yeah.
And they thought it was hilarious, absolutely hilarious.
I bet.
Yeah, I'm not good with mannequins, but there you go.
No,
There you go.
I guess like I'm at Haunted Antiques a lot, and there's a clown there which he always looks like he's going to move, and actually he does move. He sometimes does move his legs, and like,
It's
oh
been
God,
caught, hasn't it, on camera moving? Is that the one?
yeah, that's right, yeah. So it's like a life size figure as well. So you kind of think there's somebody in it to jump out at you. So it looks like it's going to move.
I
There
think
you
that's
go.
it. It's the
Well done for
frightening bit,
taking
isn't it?
one for the team. Yeah, so it's
Thanks.
just the imagery of this great big, like, life-size clown anyway, but then, yeah, it does move, so I know, like, we've done events and I haven't seen him move, but I've seen him change positions, so, like, if I'm doing an event, I will try and get a photo, and then,
Yeah.
like, later on, obviously make sure no one's been in there, and then with the CCTV as well to check it out, but yeah. Have you been to Houghton Tower? I'm not sure if that's Bolton Way. Is it, Carl?
Doesn't ring a bell.
Yeah.
It's in Tower.
So that's there are quite a few places around, Carl, which definitely sound interesting. Yeah, Mary.
No.
It's the amount of history. Like, you've got loads of history out there, and yeah, we just got these amazing buildings. But you know what? They just like people purchase them. They just get abandoned, and then
No.
someone makes them catch fire, don't they? A lot of the time.
So they can
And,
build a lot of houses.
a lot don't sort of protect our heritage, do they?
No.
The
Luckily, some of them do.
Some of them do, yeah, that's right. But yeah, so I just hope where I went at the weekend that somebody does come in and does actually do something with it. They've got beautiful buildings, architecture, and yeah, I just hope they sort of get around to it one day. But the costs change, don't they, so much?
And I think that's the thing. It's all about money these days, isn't it? It's not so much about the history and the beautiful architecture of the building, and
Mm.
we need to preserve it. It's more about it's going to cost us a lot of money to do that. It's our heritage. But
Yeah, sorry about that.
I wonder what you were pulling up then. I thought, have you got like a
Yeah,
dog stand or something?
yeah,
Is that to
yeah.
stop them snoring?
No, he's just got back from kennels, so he wants attention.
Oh,
But yeah, things are so expensive, and with health and safety as well. Things logistical nightmare, aren't they?
they are, yeah. And there's a lot to be said to be doing things outside. There's lots of great places that you can actually go stunt outside, but then it's the noise pollution, isn't it? It's that sort. It's a
And
balance.
bumping into other teams as
Correct.
well.
Yeah.
Like I've been somewhere before, and I think 3 of us went, and then 2 Urbex has arrived, so we've sort of said, "Oh well, we'll do half an hour in here, which is the main bit, and
Yeah.
then you go in." And then a massive team arrived,
Oh gosh.
and they had cans and everything.
Right.
Some of them had gone out for a day trip, you know what I mean? And they sort of came in, and that was it, and we sort of left. But they're great lads. I know them, but
Yeah.
like if you are outdoors, you don't know who's going to come along, do you? And
No, it's a
there's
risk you take. Isn't
certain ones as well who are well known on social media for having issues and stuff. I don't know if they're around as much anymore, but yeah.
Yeah, I know what you
But
mean. Yes,
yeah.
less said, I think.
So yeah, South Yorkshire direction, but hey, mentioning too many names. But
No.
yeah, it's like Annesley Hall. That's a local one for us. And so, what are your local ones then?
Do you know? I probably haven't got anything local. I mean, the most local one I used to have, we used to do it was Odsall Hall in Manchester,
All
but
right,
obviously
yeah.
they don't let teams in there. I don't think anymore. So that's one we don't do. So
I think Carl knows that one. Yeah,
I like Odsall Hall. That was my
yeah.
first place I had an experience where I came face to face with something where I thought I was being brave. I was actually I was actually going on the ghost hunt. I wasn't working. I didn't work for the company or anything like that.
Yeah.
And I just didn't want to do it. I was up in the attic area and I didn't want to do a Ouija board because I was like one of those that somebody's going to push it. So I went round
Yeah.
one of the other eaves into the other side, a bit of calling out, and this sort of black figure just stood right in front of me. No features, just the outline. And I've never
Wow.
backed out somewhere quick. And even the other people saw me come flying out backwards. And I think that was a bit of a just be respectful. Don't think you know everything because you don't. So that was my first real fright. I think, in all fairness, the odds all.
Until that moment, how much
Hmm.
did you believe?
I was probably 50-50, if I'm honest. I wanted to
Right.
believe, but
Yeah.
I also wanted to understand why. Even now, I've experienced so many things like you. I've seen so many things, but even now, I'll always try and find out why that's happened before we just say it's spirit, because you should. You always should. And I think I believe more now than I used to. But before it was like 50%. You'd go home thinking, did that actually happen, or did somebody push that? Or so definitely believe
Yeah.
more now. Obviously,
Yeah, that's it. I kind of think like you could go to these ghost hunts and you could do it for years. And you're getting in an area where usually you've got public around, and if it's a museum or wherever, and you're just sitting there, it's cold, and you're just taking the ambience without getting disturbed in a way. And then you got the flashy lights and stuff, which, yeah, okay, you're happy, aren't you, when they happen at first?
yeah.
But then I think something then happens which you can't deny. And then that's it. You can't deny it anymore because I'm sure I had encounters when I was younger. I even lived in a haunted pub, which I kind of denied. I used to speak
Wow.
to the ghost, mind you, but I kind of, in my head, you got a reasoning behind it.
And I think you tend to find a lot of guests with like that. So you'll get guests coming on events that don't believe it's
Yeah,
all nonsense, being dragged along, and they'll have an experience. And they've had that experience, and they know they've had that experience. But if they admit it, they're admitting to something else. So they just don't want to. And it's like, okay, and that's all, that's fine. But in your own mind, you can't explain that. And
yeah.
I think that's it. It's the admit. Once something happens, you can't unadmit it. It's there.
Mm.
It's happened, and yeah, you
But
can
then,
fight it.
but do you think that moment actually it changes your mindset?
Yes, I think it
And do
changes.
yeah,
Sorry, go on.
you,
Go on. No,
you
Jen, go
carry on.
on.
No,
I
you
think
carry on.
it changes your mindset, and I think it makes you slightly more open. But I think
Yeah,
you need more. It's you need more and more and more. You need more convincing. You need to see more different things. You need to understand more. It just opens a huge cavern, doesn't it? That's even bigger than
yeah.
you had before. In all fairness.
So we just got a comment here from Oddsall Hall and this. So had a ghost tour last November, caught a blue streak of light in the attic when alone. So that's cool.
Well, that's where I had my experience. Was in the left hand attic as you went up the stairs. It was the left hand one. So
Oh
that's
wow.
interesting. Very
Yeah.
interesting.
But Carl picks things up as well. So yeah, it's great to actually meet Carl, and we went to Nottingham together, and he did pick things up. So that is incredible.
Wow.
So no, we're not satisfied. I've still got his hand.
No.
We're not, and oh, it's like I was really like I went to I'm a Celebrity Castle, Queer Castle or something, Gwitch or something, and I went there and like it was so quiet at times, but then at the end it all came together because I sort of connected with the spirit and I got a whole story, and I now
Right.
need to check it out with historical stuff, and like and that's what made it what it was in the end, because all through the night I thought, what the hell's going on here? There's just certain things which I just couldn't get my head around. Yeah, I know. I could spell it, mate, but trying to pronounce it is a different one, isn't it?
Yeah, good luck with
But
that.
there you go. No, they told me, but I think it's an English person telling me how to pronounce it, so that kind of went wrong as well. But yeah, it was. I don't know. I just had something in my head all night, but everywhere was quiet because I've been doing the Halloween maze as well. So I don't think the spirits were happy with that.
No.
and there's like loads of cans and things everywhere as well. So,
No.
I've done it now. So there we go. I hope you well, Auntie. So Conjure Quest, if anyone wants to check them out. Oh yeah. But yeah, there are some. So yeah, that's a scary moment for you. If you have other ones, then
I think I've had too many, in all fairness, Jackie. But
yeah.
I think you
Is it
sort of.
scary or do you switch it off? Do you switch off the scare factor after that?
I think you can blinker it to such an extent.
Yeah.
I think there does come a point where, I think people think that we're immune to all this sort of stuff. We get just as excited, don't we? Just as scared, just as happy. And there
I
have
don't do
been.
scared. I've cut that off somehow.
Have you? And you don't do that
Stopped
now.
it. No. After Matlock. After that scared the hell out of me.
And I think that's it. It goes up in levels, doesn't it? So you'll have some sort of scare, and then you have
Yeah.
a bit of a bigger scare, and a bit of a bigger scare, and it just keeps going up, doesn't it? And I think you can tolerate more. But
Yeah. But I think that was the ultimate scare. I'm sorry, the way I see it, a little girl jumped into me and my head was trying to get my mouth to say, get it out of me.
wow,
And that did
that's
scare me.
I
So
think that
I,
would be up there.
I guess after that, because I thought I'd never do it again. But
Really?
when I
Wow.
finally got to sleep and then woke up in the cold light of day, I thought, oh, I want to do that again and find out more. And it hasn't happened since. And I
Yeah.
want it to, and I so badly want it to happen again.
And I think that would probably terrify me, in all fairness. And I think, like I say, your knee-jerk reaction is, I don't like that. I don't do that anymore. I've had enough of this. But then
These
your
things
mind
are
takes over,
real.
doesn't it?
Oh no.
Wow, yeah. Now I want it, but now you want it too much, it probably won't happen. It's just like, oh, wow, that's pretty cool. I've not had that sort of experience yet, so
Yeah.
looks like I've got that to come.
It was freaky. The whole night was freaky. Spirit was showing me what I think I could achieve with mediumship because I'd
Wow,
just started on the development route.
right.
And there's a lady who did trance, Patricia Farrar, and she was trancing, and I saw things happening. I saw the characters appearing in her face, and I saw this young girl drowning in her face as she was telling the story. And I
Wow,
actually shouted out because I was horrified because I saw this girl drowning. I said, "Stop!" And like, oh
wow.
wow, and like everyone looked at me, and it's like, and she went on to sort of say what was happening and stuff. And then another person came through, was on the stage, is like, it's like the old time musical sort of character. And he came through, and like I got him as well. And then I felt the woman's emotion of losing the child, and
Goodness
oh,
me.
that was really heavy night. And then right at the end, this thing, yeah. Oh.
Wow,
But
that's seriously a lot to happen all in one night. There's a lot to take in that. It
yeah,
really
so
is.
I want another night like that. One day, and maybe I do this to help. Uh, yeah, definitely. I was a bit perturbed at Matlock again when I saw a dark shadow what gained a face.
Wow,
I
goodness
screamed,
me.
I didn't run. It's more of a shock. As in,
And
if I see a mouse, I'll scream. I'm
yeah,
not bothered by them. It's just, you know.
I think it's like say it's the fight or flight, isn't it? I think it's more of a
Yeah,
you run and then you get a bit of a distance away and you stop and then you try and rationalize and
yeah. I don't
it's not.
run.
Oh, do you
I
not?
don't
Oh,
run. I know.
I think
You
I've
do.
done it two or three times. I think I've done it. Yeah, 2 or 3 times.
What are the other times then?
The first time I think I was at Newsham Park
Right.
and I thought I'd left a piece of equipment downstairs. So downstairs is the laundry area, and it's quite a
Right.
foreboding place. It's not nice. It's one of my least favorite areas, and it's like a huge corridor, and it's got 3 little rooms. And the very far room at the bottom is full of lockers where all the nurses and people that work there left their personal belongings. And it's obviously called the locker room. And there's
Yeah.
supposed to be like a not nice entity in there called a caretaker. Anyway, I thought I'd left a piece of equipment on the table, and I was upstairs in the base room with all the guests. And I asked, and somebody said, "No, I think you left it downstairs." And then they all looked at me as if to say, "Are you going to?" Oh, see, yeah, Mandy remembers it. Are you going to go and get it?
Oh.
So you brave it, don't you? You're going, yeah, yeah, yeah. And I went downstairs, and I got into the room, looked on the table, and it wasn't there. A guest had obviously picked it up. And I thought, oh. So I turned around, and I started to walk back up the corridor, and I heard footsteps behind me, and I ran the full length of the corridor, all the way back up the stairs, down towards the base room, and then stopped when I got to the edge of the base room. But as I walked in, they'd all heard me running. I was out of breath. So that was like, oh my gosh.
Lost your credibility.
Lost
That's
the
funny.
credibility there, but it's like, oh my gosh. I've had to disappear out of, dare I say, East Drive on one occasion as well. So,
oh my God, really?
yeah.
Oh
So
wow.
I was setting up for the night, putting the teas and coffees out in the kitchen area.
Mhm.
And you were talking earlier on about to get used to things, you sort of get yourself blinkered to it. And there was quite a huge thud above me. Now it's an outside wall, it's Philip's bedroom, and you
Yeah.
hear it, but you don't hear it. You just carry on. And then a few seconds later, there was a thud at the other end, which is the top of the stairs, and that sort of piqued my interest. And I was like, okay. And then I heard heavy footsteps on the stairs, and I just flew straight out the front door. And I stood outside the front door, and the first thought was, if the guests come now, what are they going to think? So over the next 5 minutes, I managed to edge myself back into the kitchen, and some guests turned up early. And I was like, yes, of course, yes, come in. We're absolutely fine. So, but that's the only one time I've run out there out of, I don't know, 400 or 500 events I've done
Wow.
there. But yeah, that really freaked me that day. I don't know. But hey,
Yeah.
there you go.
Yeah.
We've all
I
been
did.
there.
Oh gosh. I have not yet. I've been good.
You've done
Oh,
really
my ability is getting lost, admittedly.
well.
Have you ever been lost with guests?
I don't think I've ever been lost with guests yet. No, I mean, touch wood.
That's good. I've
I
got a
think
really bad sense of direction. I'm
I
naturally bad
do.
at it.
I do remember when we went back to the first, when Newsham Park opened again, because it was closed for about a year and a half, wasn't
Yeah.
it, for all the health and safety. And I remember the first night back, I remember Hazel was there and she said to me, can you just take the guests down to the kitchen area, which is underneath the base room? And I was like, yeah. And I started to walk off, and then I just had a blank thinking, I
Where
can't
is
remember
it?
where that is. And we sort of walked around a few corridors for a little bit until somebody went, where are you going? I'm going to the kitchen. It's down there. And then we went in. So I thought I actually managed to just get away with it, but I'm not convinced I did. But there you go. Yeah, just had a mind blank. Couldn't remember.
Yeah.
I didn't
Oh
get
gosh.
lost with them. I just didn't know where I was.
Yeah. I'm not. I'm appalling at directions, and Draco was never going to be a good one, was it, for a tryout? To be
Oh,
fair.
gosh, no. I mean, everybody used to say it's just 4 tunnels, but it was the little ones that all attached the tunnels together that were in weird places. Some were
And I'm
blocked up.
sorry, if you go in through the ladies' toilet wall to get
Yeah,
to another tunnel, it's not
absolutely.
the obvious route, is it?
No, it is not indeed, and that's it.
And the ladies as well. Oh my gosh, the ladies at Draco. Oh dear, that was rather offensive. They must be the worst toilets on a ghost hunt.
They weren't great, I must admit. Yeah, they weren't very good. Not like us men. We could just go outside, but there you go.
Yeah, it was
Yeah,
dark,
great.
broken. The toilet paper was wet,
But
mouldy.
that just led to the ambience of the place. That's what it was.
Yeah.
We're looking at a safe, derelict space. That's what I used
Yeah.
to say anyway.
Yeah. Oh, it was good though, wasn't it?
It was. It was.
Oh, yay! You've had someone lost in Draco with gas. Yay! It's
Yay!
not just me then.
Well done, Helen. Well done.
Nice submission. Love it. But yeah, it was shocking. It's a tryout I had, and it just went wrong straight away.
Oh
So
God.
we're listening to the opening where Cassandra Raven was chatting about what she was encountering and stuff, and me and another guy were on a tryout, so right at the back of the group, and they decided they wanted to take a lot of photos by the time they finished because we didn't want to. We wanted to try our best, and we didn't want to upset the guests straight away. As in, come on, get a move on. We don't sort of push
No.
it too far. We got out, and yeah, they just disappeared, so we couldn't hear them. So then the other guy wanted to look for him. So and yeah, we ended up and down and up and down, and then we.
I think it's like you said. It was
I
easily
did want
done.
to, yeah, but yeah, I didn't know they go through the toilet wall. How would I know? Yeah, take tissues with me. Yeah, you've got to, haven't you?
Indeed. Oh gosh,
And
yeah.
yeah, it was terrible. It really was. Yeah,
God.
if a door shut. Yeah. But it was got hold of the torch and it was that was the thing. It was awful.
It wasn't
But
nice.
yeah.
It wasn't nice.
But
No.
yeah, East Drive then. So
Oh,
there's a lot of stories on it, aren't there? Because
there is.
I said last week, whatever, that I'd been at, I met Carol, I heard Bill Bungay do a sort of chat about the location at the Paramount. Um, and I sort of went round Pontefract really trying to find out where this monk comes from. So I was just
Well,
trying to, I thought, well, where's he come from? And yeah,
can I just say, I'm no expert. I've done, I don't know, 400 or 500 events there. I'm
yeah.
no expert, but my understanding is that there used to, where the hospital is now, which is about a mile and a half from East Drive, used to be a
Uh,
monastery, apparently.
that's what Barry Frankish mentions. Yeah,
So, and that was in the 1700s, and
yeah.
apparently the land that East Drive's on were ploughed fields. So that's where the
Okay,
monk connotation comes into the whole of this piece, is because of that. However,
right.
there is no documentation anywhere to prove or disprove any of that. There isn't anything. So there's
Yeah.
nothing to say that a monk was involved, that any of this terrible thing that this monk's supposed to have done happened, or the usual sort of things. So
Oh, bless you. I'm like,
lots of people say that it's not a monk, and that we've heard stories of it's his brother that was hung in error for something that he didn't. It was a crime he didn't commit. People have talked about witches. I think he even had one guest one evening talk about a highwayman.
oh
So
wow.
and I guess
Yeah,
I always say to guests, I don't know. None of us really know. This is what we do know. Let's work with what we do know, and that's why we're here, to try and find out what is or isn't at East Drive.
yeah.
Um, but there's lots of things there for lots of reasons, Jackie. In all fairness, there's not just
Well,
one
yeah.
spirit there. So
But
we've got the land.
I've got an idea of why it's the way it is now.
Oh, share,
Um,
please.
but 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 okay. From your first investigation to
Yes,
your latest,
yes.
how has it changed?
It's a very, very good question. So I think when I first started investigating it 10 years ago,
Wow.
um, there seemed to be quite a lot of audible um, phenomenon around the house. You did get quite a lot of things that were moving, like doors would move, or I've heard footsteps, voices, a very clear voice one day. And I think moving forward now, it's a lot different. It's more banging, tapping. Um, you don't tend to get doors opening very often these days, or this is my experience anyway. This is just obviously my perception of it. And it's more about atmospheres and people being taken over. I've had people being affected, and you
Wow.
know, it's a completely different scale. I remember in the early days, if a torch came on the landing, everybody was like, "Oh my gosh, how's that happened?" But I think now it's a given, it's an expectation. People have ramped
Yeah.
it up now, and they want more and more. East Drive is just like anywhere else. It's different every time you go.
Mm,
There's not really much that I could say happens every time. There's certain spirits that are there for certain reasons that you talk to quite often when you're there.
yeah.
But I don't know, is the honest answer. It's
Yeah.
just a weird place.
You see, I've got the theory, right?
Mm.
So if you get people going there frequently, which
Yeah,
obviously people do,
absolutely.
and quite a few of them do this regularly. Ugh, I can't say that word, but
Yeah.
we every week we might go somewhere. We might have things with us
Hmm.
that sort of may end up staying at East Drive, or
Oh,
may visit
possibly.
for a bit, or
Yeah.
may attend an investigation with them,
Yeah.
and that will change like the energy and how things are working there.
Absolutely. I mean, the dynamics of the house have definitely
Yeah,
changed.
yeah,
Absolutely, 100%. 100%.
yeah. Because like if you get one group in, and then the next night there's another group, you've got a difference anyway.
Yes. Yeah.
Because like you can see like in a group of 10 people, you just get one who's like not open one bit, and that's it. It can screw it up for everyone. But
I
then
think, sorry, go.
I'm also wondering if people have different skills. And bring
I,
different skills to places.
I think I would absolutely agree with you. I mean, the dynamics of groups, the dynamics of, like I said, people's skill sets, whether they're open, whether they're close to spirit, whether they're tired, whether they're really energized. I think the whole dynamics of the group is key to the investigation. And then you
Yeah.
add on that the house. Has there been a lot of people in there? I did a story in a magazine a few months ago about the weather, and when it rains, apparently there's stories that it's heightened there, and
Oh wow.
it generates more energy because of like water and all that sort of thing. So I don't know. I think there's a lot of
I
dynamics that
like
go
that
on.
one. Yeah.
Yeah.
We often do sort of wonder about storms, but even like considering just rain, yeah,
Because
yeah,
obviously another one of the things of East Drive is that there's a well underneath it.
yes. Now
And
this is a
again,
story I've heard. Yeah,
so I have seen pictures of this well having been bricked up. So I can say that I've seen the top of it, but I've not seen anything in it. So
right.
I can't say that it looked like the well to me. Let's go there.
Yeah,
So if it was a water course, you've got water running under the house. Is it
yeah.
still water? Is it dry? Is it not? So I think that has a big play in there. I know a few times we've done table tipping in the lounge, which is where it is. And if
Hmm.
you move it to certain areas near there, you tend to get a bit more energy. But then is that just the group? Again, is that the dynamics of the group? Is it? Don't know.
Yeah, that's it.
But I think you're
So
right.
got a couple of comments here. I find that constant asking for activity doesn't get much. I prefer to sit and have a chat with Joe and Jean, ask them how it's going, if they've been down the pub, has he been watching rugby? And yeah, that's it, isn't it? And you start off events the same way, don't you? It's like a script.
Yeah.
It's terrible, isn't it? Like, oh, just go to Andy's refill groups offered different from every person. Someone might mention something others haven't seen, sensed, and everything. Watched a table collapse. Oh wow,
Oh wow.
incredible! That's brilliant.
I will go back to that in a second, because I know
Yeah,
Jack, you've got something else I could tell you
yeah.
about. So, but I agree. I think you always start an event off because I think the guests expect you to do hi and look at an introduction to the spirit. But I think if you can try and do things different to you think that everybody else is going to do, like
Mm.
Mandy said, I think you've got half a chance. Sometimes just sitting and listening. And I don't know. I know guests don't just want to sit in the dark for 10, 15 minutes and be
Oh,
quiet.
I know.
You can get so much from it. Or
Yeah.
asking really different, would you like a cup of tea, Jean? Or would you like to come and see your bedroom, rather than go, can you knock on this table? Is there anybody with us? Can you make a noise? Can you copy my
Mm.
whistle? And that does work, and there's nothing wrong with that. But I think just need
The
to be different.
spirits are all going. Oh no!
I said to
Just
some
as
guests
we would.
a few weeks ago, I said, have you ever seen that really great show, Ghosts? I said, they'll be all stood round us now going, not again. They're asking us silly questions again, and we laugh about it. But I think, yeah, you've got to be different. You've got to try and be
Yeah,
different and
that's
try and
right.
stand out. But
It's just so it's funny. It's funny, isn't it? It's just a whole thing and the whole scenario, and it's just like, ultimately you're walking into somebody else's house, property, or something, and it's how you go about it. It is a weird scenario, isn't it? Because they're there already. You're walking in on them.
yeah,
Like, yeah. And it's what do you call them, by the way?
what do I call what? Sorry, the
Them.
spirits.
Ah, you
Them.
call it spirit, yeah.
Well, like I said, there are a number of spirits that are there quite often, so I know
You've
who they
got the
are.
names.
So I've got
Yeah,
the names.
that's
But
good.
then the others, it's more of a case of like being polite. I call them spirits. Good evening, spirit.
Yeah, this is the thing, isn't it? What do they want? Well, like
Absolutely.
if you're dead, do you want to be called a spirit?
No. And we try and use some of the equipment and we're going, can you tell us your name? And they're probably looking at us going, no, I can't. But I don't want you to call me spirit. What do you it's a really tricky situation, isn't it?
It's awkward, isn't it? It's
It
like,
is.
what do you call them? Or you know?
Because if it's
Like,
somebody down to earth, you don't want to, they don't want to be called sir or madam, do they? They just want
no,
you to be normal. I don't
I
know.
know it's a hard one, isn't it? It sort of depends on the like location you go to as well, because
It does.
sometimes if you go to the country house, that wouldn't even speak to me because I'm a woman.
Wow.
If they're from 16, 1700s, it's there, isn't it?
It is, and I think that's it. Some of the places, like say we go to, like you've just said then, I mean, like the house that cries, it goes back to the 1400s. They're not going to speak like we do now. Do we
Yeah,
need to try and change the way we speak? Do we need to try and speak in Old English? Do we need to try and change our the tones? I don't know. You've got to try and change it to the location, I guess.
yeah, that's right. So if we all refer to them as spirits, then why do we go ghost hunting or ghost bothering? That's it, isn't it?
It is absolutely right.
Yeah,
Absolutely right.
because the word ghost hunting as well, that is, it's a word, it's a term we use for events, isn't it? But
It is.
oh God, it's so wrong, isn't it? You just
Well,
imagine going around with a net catching them.
yeah, trying to find this little white sheeted ghost that looks like trying to catch it with a net.
Yeah, that's it.
But
It's
we're
just,
hoping they just look like us, but on a different plane. I don't know, a different site. That's another kettle of fish there, Jackie, isn't
oh
it?
God,
You
isn't
know,
it? Yeah, it could be chatting to aliens or anything, couldn't you? Really, like somebody's coming through mediumistically. We might be chatting to something, but we can't actually say that it's actually a person on the other side, can we?
no, no,
Like the information I picked up at the weekend, I was dead chuffed with, and somebody had doubted. I kind of like doing that. I sort of link in, and then I'm getting all these questions to ask somebody with doubting rods because I know the information. I'm driven, and
mhm,
it's like, yeah, yeah, yeah. I love that, and but you don't know what you're connecting with in
no,
reality, do you?
no. Oh gosh, no.
Yeah,
So it's that kind of opposite the Grim Reaper.
yeah.
True, it's
But
true.
yeah, it's mad though. What we do. It really is mind blowing, isn't it?
It certainly is. I mean, like I say, sometimes, I mean, let's take Easter Island. There's supposed to be a portal or a gateway between the
Yeah,
two worlds, whatever
I
the two
believe.
worlds are. It's
Yeah.
like, what is the two worlds? I mean, somebody once said to me, can you imagine if you fell in there, there'd be two of you somewhere else in a parallel universe, and the guest there
Uh-oh.
would be going, who are you? Why are you here? And the guest, the other one would be going, where's he gone? And I just stood there and I thought, it's a very, very good analogy. You've blown my mind. You've really blown my mind.
Yeah.
People are talking about different levels of like consciousness and, oh, yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
who
I
knows?
can't go too much into scientific stuff because
No, but it's
it's just
great.
like trying to make sense of my little understanding of it's enough without going into
It is, but I think
yeah,
that's the
heavy.
excitement of trying to understand it, and I think that's why we do it. That's the buzz and the draw for it, isn't it? Let's try and
Yeah.
understand a little bit more because we think we know loads, but we don't. We
Oh,
know
we
a
don't
tiny
know
bit.
nothing.
No, we
No.
don't. Every day is a school day,
We
suppose.
just know the information that we've kind of picked up, and then like the first time you probably looked at a photo, you go, "Oh, they're orbs." You did,
Of
yeah.
course
I
you do.
watched most Haunted first series. Everything was an
Yeah,
orb, wasn't it? I was
yeah.
dead chuffed to get a photo. Oh, got orbs, yay! And then you realise, and then sort of change that idea, don't you? And then
Yeah.
yeah, you sort of idea and perception of everything changes, doesn't it?
But
As
I think
time goes on.
that's a positive, though, isn't it? It's like a learning curve. You're learning more things. You're learning that, yeah, there is probably orbs, but if you just shake your bedclothes and take a picture, you're going to get thousands of them because there's dust as well.
Yeah,
So
because that was my
learn.
first, that was one of my first ghost hunts at the Galleries of Justice. That's what it
Wow.
was. And it's after the first series of Most Haunted.
Yeah.
So the team, I believe, were Fright Nights. And Hazel said she was with Fright Nights.
Yes, she was.
So
Yeah.
which was like, my God, I think it cost us about 100 and something quid
Wow.
each in those days. And like, we didn't tend to stay up late. And like, yeah, went on till 4 or 5 in the morning. I thought, how am I going to manage this? And had the wrong meal as well, had chips and
Oh.
mushy peas,
Oh.
which don't ever do that for a ghost.
Oh gosh, no,
And
no.
they actually showed a video, I believe, of a blanket. So they've got a picture of a dart,
Yeah.
and then they shook this red blanket, and all of a sudden, like red orbs everywhere.
Yeah.
So that was a brilliant video which they showed at that time, just to show, yeah, this is what most haunters are saying, but this is the reality of it. And, it's a lesson like that, isn't it? What remains with you.
And it is, and don't get me wrong, I do believe there are orbs, and I'm sure I've
I've seen
seen,
light anomalies, yeah.
yeah, that can move in different directions quickly and up and down.
Mm,
But then there's other things that literally are just really lethargic, little bits of dust, but we
yeah.
learn. That's how we learn, by doing something, realizing it, and then go, oh yeah, you're right there, and you're right there,
Yeah.
Andy. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. I've sort of Barry John went into trance once and his higher self came through. And
Wow.
my God, I was so honoured. And you kind of get blown away, and you really don't know what questions to ask, because it's somebody like, wow,
Yeah.
and you can't just ask silly things of them.
No, you don't
And
ask really what you feel is a lame question. It needs to be something
yeah,
really
you need something right
meaningful.
deep and meaningful, and like, you're not going to come out, oh, what's the weather up there like?
Yeah, what's it look like? What can you see at the minute? They'll be like,
Yeah.
oh gosh, no. Yeah.
And there's other encounters where people have brought spirit guides through and stuff, and it's incredible. But if you ever manage to find out from spirit, here we go, I've called it that now.
I
What
see.
happened between this life and that life? The immediate transition. Have you tried to find out?
Yeah, do you know, there's been a few occasions, not many of them, can I say, that where we've tried to find out exactly what happens. And we get the theory of this white light, that
Mm.
there's some white light that they need to go towards,
Yeah,
and that there's some sort of, I don't know, there's a position in between, whether that be a good position or a bad position. I don't know if that's just where they're stuck, if they can't move on. But then
yeah.
apart from that, that's about it, and that's very, very basic, very,
Because
very
they
basic.
keep quiet, I find. It's
Hmm.
even the really, like, there's one who was a former landlord, and he'd passed in 1999, so he's actually on our wavelength. He kept doing ha ha on the Ouija board. It's just, to get one who's on side, what I mean? You can
Yeah,
is absolutely on side and is totally up for what you're doing. And that was so incredible. I need to go back there. And he wouldn't say, and they wouldn't say, and it's,
it's another question, isn't it? Are they not allowed to say? Do they
hmm
not know themselves? Does it? What's the consciousness like? And
here
oh
we go.
god,
I like this one. Do they know, or are they just carrying on their life as if death never happened?
brilliant, brilliant question.
Yeah,
It is. It is. You know.
yeah. This is it, isn't it? It's just so the fascinating, isn't it?
So do they move on to a different vibrating plane that's the same as they are now, and we become the ghost that they're trying to
Mm,
communicate with? Oh, the possibilities are endless, but it's a great question.
yeah, it's a question which asked at Drakelow Tunnels as with the group, and lady running it, once again, small group, Guy Fields was there, sort of said, "How do you see us?" And they saw us as shadows, and that's
Wow.
how we see them. So, but then if you're saying go to the K2
Mm.
and make it flash,
Yeah.
obviously you don't say that phrase, do you?
No. 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 No.
But what you go the black box or do but how do they see it? If they see you as a shadow, can they actually see a? How do they know that that is there?
That's a very good question. I suppose it's one of those, isn't it? Do they see light? If they're talking a shadow, do they see light? And that's why they like playing with all these gadgets that we've got with lights on them,
Mm,
because they see that light. I don't know.
it's odd, isn't it?
It is very odd. It is. I often think that obviously we've got all these great gadgets and these fantastic things that are coming out all the time, and how do they, like you said, how do they see? How do they know how to use it? How do they not know how to use it? Just by us saying, yeah, if you go near the green light, this is going to happen. Do they actually trust us? Because there's an amount of trust into that, isn't there? Because it's
Yeah,
like,
that's right.
you've never spoke to me before in your whole life. I've just invaded your room or wherever I am, but if you go near that green light, it's not going to hurt you. You'd be a bit wary.
Yeah,
Hmm,
exactly.
maybe not. They're either extremely trustworthy or, like Emily said, are they just moved over and they understand all this?
Yeah, that's
That's
right.
too deep for me. Goodness gracious.
It's amazing. I don't know. We just got onto this crazy. Yeah, it's good, isn't it? I was once told by a spirit that they couldn't see me, and I couldn't see them. So is it the same for them on their plane, or are they hearing our voices? Yeah.
I think I do remember once asking a question a few years ago. Do spirits remember you? If you go to the same place quite a lot, do they remember you? I don't know.
I think they do. And I think they help you out on other investigations. Randomly,
Yeah.
Bob the Clown turned up when I was at an investigation of Tutbury Castle. Now,
Oh,
Bob is
really?
actually from Haunted Antiques. Yeah, he showed
Yeah.
up. So,
And was it
I'm,
helpful?
I think he was helping us. Yeah. But I kind of think sometimes if you go to a location, maybe the ones from there help you at other places. But that was the only because there's a lot from Haunted Antiques there that night, so that's
Right.
probably why he turned up.
Yeah. I suppose if there's a positive energy from the haunted antiques with you, with some of you, and there's quite a few of you, that makes a
Yeah,
big sort of like
you've got this,
yeah.
the odds of it,
Ah.
being higher. Do they see as a grey lady or grey man? And this is it, isn't it? This is definitely one. Yeah,
It'd be like say it's for whatever reason they can't share that information with us. They can't tell us what they see. How do they see us?
yeah,
I know Emily mentioned about being just grey figures. Like I said at the start, there's more questions than answers.
yeah. So yeah, sort of help out, and if you go somewhere regularly enough, and that's it, isn't it? Please stop typing that word. I can't say it.
I
But yeah,
think you're
that
right.
it is fascinating, isn't it? It's like I started a conversation with Spirit on Sunday morning, and at first she was like doing, someone's using dowsing rods, and it kept going to yeah, but very hesitantly. But as the
Right.
conversation sort of grew, it was going yes, yes, you know what I mean? She wasn't as hesitant. And I
Yeah.
was like explaining that I don't mean to be rude or whatever, and I must have gained a trust because all of a sudden she's answering sort of more, and that was kind of beautiful as well. And it's lovely, isn't it, when you
Yeah.
experience things?
I think one, like say, if you can gain that trust and you can see you're gaining that trust, you know you're
Mm,
doing something right. I think there's a lot to be said for respect still, just because the
mm,
spirits and you can't see them and you necessarily don't think they exist. You still got to be respectful. There are people that just
yeah.
shout and scream. You will do that, and I think
God no,
if I was at your house doing that, I would just not entertain you one little bit. You
no,
know,
that's
but
right.
yes, it is. It
Yeah,
is.
it's just so
Hmm.
fascinating, though, isn't it? What is the weirdest story that you've got? The
Oh my
weirdest.
gosh. Weirdest story. Let me have a think. Um, I think one of the there's so many, Jackie. So one
I
of
know
them is
it's the
East
same.
Drive. I can think of two. So the first one is in the early days at East Drive, we used to have two hosts. Now we have sort of one. So we used
Yeah.
to have two hosts, and I remember we split the guests in half. And I was upstairs in mum and dad's bedroom doing some mirror scrying, and the other group were downstairs in the living room. And I can remember we were doing mirror scrying, and the chap was stood looking in the mirror. He got his torch under his chin, and we were all stood behind him saying, "Are you okay? Yeah. Can anybody see anything? No." And after I'd asked him a couple of times, he didn't answer me. And I just thought I'll just let him carry on going. Anyway, about 30 seconds later, he just still hadn't answered me. And we ended up having to literally pull him away from the mirror and take him outside because he felt that ill and unwell. He couldn't
Oh,
remember the last 30 seconds or so. My head's spinning, thinking, what's going on here? And in that time, we swapped the guests over, but they didn't talk to each other. And exactly the same thing happened to the next lady, but she ended up like on her tiptoes with like a head up as if she was being hung. And myself and her husband pulled her away from the mirror. And I remember that it was quite a frightening night. I thought, what are we dealing with here? And I can honestly say
yeah,
I've never done mirror scrying there since because of that experience and not
yeah,
understanding it. And they
yeah,
hadn't talked to each other. So how that could have transpired with the both of them, I don't know. But goodness me, that was quite a spooky experience in all fairness.
yeah.
Um, And I think the other one was probably at the House of Cries down in Wolverhampton.
Yeah, not been
Um,
there yet either.
I was actually in there on my own because we did a live, so we swapped over. So one person went and did live, then halfway through they left, and I came and I did my live. And I remember going in, and I went down into the cellar. And as I got down into the cellar, I saw somebody stood in the corner, and I thought, "Who's this? Who's going to be in there now?" So I actually walked towards them, and literally they disappeared. They disappeared, and I stood there, and I stood there, and I thought, where that? And the light was on. The light was on, and they just completely vanished. And then after about 10 seconds, I thought, what am I doing? And I walked all the way back upstairs, and I stood there, and I thought, there's nobody here. I know there's only me here. I know there's nobody else in this building. And all the hair stood up on the back of my neck.
Mm.
And then this moment of realization, thought, wow, I think I've just seen a spirit or a ghost.
Mm.
And I didn't run for 10 seconds. How amazing is that? But that again freaked me out.
Oh wow, that's
I
cool.
don't know, because I think it was more that the light was on, because there's this fallacy, isn't there, that you can't ghost hunt in the light. That doesn't work.
Oh
You know,
wow.
it doesn't work in that. But the light was actually on in the cellar, and this person, I can tell you, I could tell you what they were wearing, what the colour was. They were facing away from me, and it was just like, oh my gosh. So the light, that's like the holy grail, isn't it? Everybody wants to see a figure. I can honestly
Yeah.
say I've seen, well, a black shadow and that one. I've never seen a face. Never, ever.
I've seen a
So,
face.
have you?
It wasn't pleasant.
You see, I've often thought that in spirit, what would their face look like? Would they look like us?
It
Or,
was skeletal. It was
or
absolutely quite offensive, to be fair. It's Matlock Pavilion. It's a dark mass. And it just got darker and darker, and then there's about it. It was on the stage, and we were in the auditorium, and it seemed like it was something like 7 foot. It was huge,
wow.
and it got a face which like a skull.
Wow.
That was heavy. I didn't
I,
like that.
I
But
must
somebody
admit,
else saw it.
yeah,
I wasn't the only one. So
that's better.
we were in a circle. Two to three of us were facing the stage, and I like gasped, as did a woman immediately next door to me, and we both saw it.
Wow.
And yeah, when you both see something, that is amazing, isn't it?
Yes.
Go switch the light. Oh wow!
Do you know what? It goes back to all these things that we think we know. We do it in the dark because we like it in the dark, because it's spooky. It sets the
Yeah.
scene. We should try it with the lights on. I genuinely think we should try clear lights. They might like that. They might be frightened of the dark. Who knows?
Oh yeah, that's right.
Who
Yeah,
knows?
because as humans we can't see, so maybe they can't see.
Yeah,
Apart
and
from
if
the
it's like,
flashing lights.
well, they're flashing lights. Or if they see us in shadow, like you say, are they trying to turn the lights on? And I don't know.
Yeah. Ah, it's fascinating, isn't it? It
It's
really is.
amazing. It is amazing. And like you say, you think you know everything, and then something else will happen. You'll go, "Wow,
No.
I didn't know that. That's new? What's that about then?"
Yeah. Maybe we're just showing different things on different parts of our journey.
I do
Um,
think things happen for a reason. I'm a firm believer in things happening for a reason. Not necessarily on a ghost hunt, but I think sometimes you're in it.
maybe you
Probably
think
do.
it's weird we're all stood in the dark, and that is it, isn't it? So Ness is wonderful. She's so lovely. So do you believe that when you introduce yourself first, they have more respect for you?
I think I'm a very respectful person anyway, and I think most people in the field are. And I think it's always if you met a human being, you'd be polite. You'd introduce yourself, wouldn't you? If you had like a
Yeah,
living person, for me,
yeah,
there's no different. Be respectful. Like you said earlier, Jackie, we're in their space, we're in their house. Just be respectful. It doesn't cost anything. It's for me,
yeah.
yes, I think so.
That's right, and it kind of breaks the ice with the guests
Yeah,
because you've got however many guests, and they all don't know each other. And when you start an investigation, it's so hard, isn't it?
yeah,
Oh
yeah.
my gosh, it's like, oh God, all these people thrown together. And you think, oh God, please activity start soon. So, you try something, you're calling out or whatever you do at the beginning, and you're just hoping something happens. But you find like if people sort of speak, it kind of gets them more open as well, doesn't it?
I think it does. Like it's very difficult. I mean, don't get me wrong. We get like you get different people. You get people that are really into it. You get people that's never done it before, and like I said, trying to break that ice. But once they do start to, I don't know, have a bit of a call out and don't feel embarrassed and all that sort of stuff, the energy then starts to build, and then it just takes itself off, doesn't it?
Yeah, that's right. But
then,
gosh, those first 5 minutes can be like, oh, please.
and I think that's it. That's always the other thing is, so you always want stuff to happen, but you can never promise anything. That's the
Oh,
realism.
no, you can't. That's right.
And there's been things when it's been a very subtle night, and I say to people, I'd rather it be subtle than fake anything. Never fake anything in my life.
No,
It's just
that's
not worth
right.
it. But you get to the end of it and you think, oh, I feel really guilty now that nothing's happened. You've all come on here. But that's just the way it is. And you can stand there, like you say, and you're like, please let something happen. Please do something. Please say something.
Please.
And
you change what you're doing just to hope that that's going to,
we'll go and do something else.
Either get the guests involved, like I have gone to table tipping just to get the guests making a noise and get involved in something, and it's not something personally I do, but on an event, it's kind of handy, isn't it?
And I think that's it. Sometimes you've just got to adjust what you're doing to the situation, whether it be for the guests, whether it be for the spirits, whether it be for whatever you're doing. You've just got to have that full toolbox of. And for me, there's nothing that's off the table. It doesn't matter how crazy it is. If it works, it works. That's all that matters.
That's right. Because people do. So, like Helen introduced selves, really think it helps with confidence, and it does. Ness. Why should the spirits give us their name? And that's right. And weren't we taught at school that it's rude to ask somebody of a name?
Well, do you know what? Yes, there was. But then there's also, I've come across on a few occasions, certainly in older properties, that in the olden days, like the 1800s, if somebody knew your name, it was believed that they had power over you. I've read that in various books and things like that. So if that's true, I could understand why some may not want to do that. But we've come across lots of spirits, lots of them from, the past, 50 years. It's not like that then. So I don't know.
Yeah, it's like I posted something on my page about, ghosts only exist for 100 years.
Okay.
An expert said. What do you think about that then?
Well, it's funny enough. About 2 weeks ago, I forgot where I was now. I was doing an event, and a guest on the free time, we stood chatting, and he said, why do we never, ever get cavemen come through to us? Or
that is weird, yeah.
And it's like, I don't know is the honest answer. I'm a firm believer. If I don't know, I'll tell you I don't know. I'm not trying to make some waffle because you trip yourself up, but I don't know. But then if this expert, whoever this expert is, and I don't know who's an expert, but there you go. If they only last for 100 years, that would answer that question, wouldn't it?
It would, but have you dealt with anything outside 1924?
If this Black Monk of Pontefract is who he's supposed to be, it's from the 1700s. So that's 300 years ago.
Yeah, exactly.
And I suppose like Warwick Castle and places like that there a while ago. Or...
Yeah, there's a lot of like 1800 ones coming through.
There is, but then it seems to stop at a certain point, doesn't it? I don't know. I think that the oldest person I've ever communicated with guests are plague victims, and that was at
16s.
Yeah, something along that. So that's what 400 years or so ago, or whatever it is, or 500. So yeah, and that was at Wentworth Woodhouse. So that's the oldest, I think.
That's right. I can hear some clicking.
I can't hear it. Maybe it's spirit just trying to tell us.
It's all right. It's the radiator being random. Weird.
Oh, I heard it then. Like a chink.
Yeah.
Oh, there you go.
That's weird. Okay.
Well, okay.
Usual.
I take it that's not usual happening in your house, Jackie, is it? Or?
No, I'm not used to that.
You have to keep us updated on that one.
Yeah, I'm quite worried about the central heating now. What's going on with it? Because, I've been away all weekend and I've just put the heating on, but it's been on for the last few hours. So
I'm sure it's just to do with it going hot and cold on the radiator. That's all.
well, generally it is, isn't it? But it's just a bit
Yeah,
random. I've just
yeah.
taken a doll into my house.
I'll have you.
It's just from eBay. That's all.
Oh, that'll be all right then.
Yeah,
What
that's
What was
fine.
its backstory, Jackie? What was?
No, it's fine. It's just that somebody got this Julie Holiday, who she's Equinox Paranormal.
Mhm.
2019, she sorted out a residential case in Wakefield, and the centre of the case was a doll.
Wow.
So basically, this doll decided it could swear,
Gosh.
and dolls can't. So she used to take it to ghost hunts in 2019 and was hoping to meet her in Stratford, but it's just a bit too far out, so I didn't go to that one. And then she kind of put it away because it was really quite nasty. So I actually
Oh,
met it at the Parameet, and I
oh
decided
wow.
to get a similar type doll just to see if something will use that as a vessel. So
Yeah, because you always hear of people that's bought these haunted dolls and what have you. Well,
I've got two.
buy just a normal doll and see if you can get something like you said to use as a vessel.
Yeah.
You know?
So, well, I'm going to sort of use it as a sort of project, really. So, see how a language changes from what it's like now. Already, somebody thinks that she has somebody with her, a little girl. I don't know.
Mm.
I'm not sure. She's quite freaky anyway because her face kind of moves and her eyes move and stuff.
Oh, that
So
does sound
yeah,
freaky.
she talks. So yeah, she's quite special, really.
It
But
just sounds like, yeah.
she's
Mm.
sitting down there in a Halloween outfit. I've got a little dress to make her more attractive to
Of
spirits.
course you have, Jackie. Of
A
course you
little
have.
Minnie Mouse dress. Yeah, just in case.
Oh,
Make her
dear.
look cuter so that she can be more.
Spooky.
Oh yeah, Helen met her. Yeah, Helen met this doll.
Oh,
Yeah.
did you?
So
Oh, Helen.
Julie took this doll to the Parameet North, and I didn't know she'd take her. And I said, oh, I met her. I said, "Oh, have you got the doll?" And she says, "Yeah." I thought, "Yay! Finally, I'll meet her."
Oh my
And
gosh.
yeah, but love a bell doll. And
Oh,
yeah,
dear.
she was awesome, weren't she, Ness? So I've got my own.
Creepy dolls. No,
Yeah.
don't.
So
No.
I took
Mm.
her up to my room and we sort of did a mini investigation of the doll.
Oh
And she
my
did say
gosh.
kill Julie, which was rather yeah.
That's a bit
And
off-putting, isn't it?
Julie sort of said, "Well, what about the house in Wakefield?" And she said, "It's got a demon there, or it's the devil. The devil did it, or something."
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I've got footage of it. But yeah,
Wow.
it was incredible. Yeah, she called me a whore. And she
How
swore at
pleasant.
somebody else. A doll, just a normal doll. So
Oh my
so I've got
gosh.
my own doll, just hoping it develops a potty mouth.
Watch this space. Oh my
Yeah,
gosh.
so yeah, it's a little project. What else do you do? I've already got two dolls. I've got so, some items in a little cloth bag as well, which I know what they are, and we're using them for psychometry. I think I've had them 5 or 6 years, and
Right.
it's great what people are getting. And yeah,
Oh
they're
my
they're
gosh.
amazing. And also got a mirror as well, which is well dodgy. So yeah, I've acquired things in time.
Are they in the cupboard under the stairs, or are they just randomly
No,
around
it's
your
in the
house?
dining room. Well, the two doll. Oh, there's a doll in here, two in the dining room. One's from a 1940s tea shop. They didn't like her because she kept upsetting customers. All the customers are going, "Oh, that's giving me bad vibes."
I
And then
don't
she
like
kept
that.
falling off a shelf, so I had her. Another one was in the Audi car park locally. And it's on a local spotted site. Anyone want this doll? And she got it from nobody. It's just discarded doll in a car park for whatever reason, and she's going to make it into a Halloween face.
Yeah.
But it started freaking their dog out, so they had to get shut of it. And I was like, yeah, I'll have it. So I went to
Oh
collect it,
gosh.
and the bloke of the house had messed around the night before, and he said that a picture had fallen down behind him.
Oh my gosh.
because it used a nap, and then a picture had fallen down. And then the dog was a XL bully, which they
Yeah.
kept in the kitchen out of the way because it didn't like people. And it got out of the kitchen, headed towards me, and I had the doll, and it started cowering, shaking.
Oh my gosh.
It's cool, isn't it? So yeah,
That
I've
is
got
cool because it lives with
yeah,
you. So
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. But my house, I think my dog's used to everything happening anyway. I think obviously we do what we do, so I think things are around you because
Yeah. Do you know what? It was funny talking of dogs last week when I was at East Drive. Somebody said, "Do you know what would be really cool? Bringing a dog in here and letting it just wander around because obviously, dogs sense and all that."
yeah,
Well, what a great idea! Obviously, we'd
yeah.
have to get the permission of Bill and all that sort. But that'd be interesting. I think that'd be interesting.
Well, mine growls at spirit.
Really.
He's had three obvious encounters. One was at the schooner. He
Wow.
was growling at a chair. So it's a little alcove off the bar. So you get
Yeah.
the bar and there's a tiny alcove. I was sitting there, keeping out of the way of everyone, really. And he started growling at a chair. And I'd sort of picked up on a bloke with a monocle over his eye. And then are at a castle in Scotland with another team. So we're just sitting there in front of this castle. He started growling at something, and then the REM pod there went off.
Gosh.
And then once I was in my house with my other dog's Ashes, and he started growling
Oh my gosh.
towards me. So yeah,
Well, they do say children and animals can still see and things, don't they?
yeah.
So
So
a lot to be said for
it's yeah, but he's not bothered by him. He's more bothered by people, I think.
that. I suppose
So
it feels comfortable, especially if he's got you around as well. I guess that it's something that get used to and comfortable with, and
yeah,
I don't
yeah.
know.
He must get used to it because I know things come home with me sometimes.
I suppose he doesn't really have a choice, does he, Jackie?
No, he doesn't. Not really. You
At
sort of
least,
get
sorry,
do you
go
get
on.
things around sometimes?
Well, do you know something? So we've been in. Funny enough, we've been in 3 houses over the past 5 years, and the first house definitely. So the first house, we were hearing children across the stairs, and my daughters were seeing things, and we were just putting it like, no, it's not that. So something, I don't know, came home with me, or there was something. It wasn't malicious or anything. So there was definitely something there. But then the second house, we rented another house before we moved here, and it was a vicar's house, and
Uh-oh.
it was as quiet as a mouse. There was not a thing. That couldn't. There was nothing, and you'd expect
Wow.
that. And here, where we are now, I don't know. There's been the odd one or two things where I don't know. Do you know things where you just question, is it just normal? Where you go upstairs and the light's on, knowing that you've turned it off, or you'll come downstairs and the door's open that you've left shut. So just little things like that. So maybe it is just forgetfulness, old age. Who knows? I don't know. But there's nothing mischievous here, which is really really good. And the kids have not said anything yet either.
That's
So
good. Yeah.
indeed. I do have a couple of things with obviously all my stuff stays downstairs in a little cupboard and the door's shut. And it
Right,
has to be
yeah.
because obviously if the door's shut, nothing's gonna get out, obviously. So yeah, they
Mm.
go in there with the door shut. But the kids are great. They want to get all the stuff out and start walking around the house with it. And I'm saying,
Oh,
no,
fantastic.
no,
Yeah.
no, no, not yet. No, I don't want to know, please.
Yeah. It's like when I put my hand into the mirror, the cupboard where the mirror is, get cobwebs up my arm.
Oh my
It's
gosh.
good, isn't it?
It is. Do you know what? I think some of it is. I think when you're on your own, it's a bit unusual, isn't it? It's a bit unnerving sometimes, especially if you know. I guess at home's different to if you're in a spooky house or something crazy like that.
Yeah.
I don't
Yeah.
know.
I
Mm,
guess something's protecting me. It must be. That's all I
absolutely,
can say.
absolutely.
Definitely. But
Well,
yeah.
I don't know if I am or not, but if you are, please let it continue. Yeah, I'm happy with that. I want the experiences, but I want the protection as well.
Yeah, if something does, I'm sure. I bet they're like head and hands all the
Mm,
time, to be fair with me. Um, the last question, really, because I've really got to finish by
wow.
5:30,
Yep.
sort of ish. Um,
Mm,
so, have you ever seen
hmm.
a famous person in spirit?
Famous person. Well, nothing springs to mind straight away. I don't think I have. No, I think the most famous person I've ever spoke to was at Newsham Park, and it was Frederick Fleet, who came forward a long time ago, and apparently he was the chap that was on the crow's nest of the Titanic that shouted iceberg,
Oh
I
my
believe.
gosh, how cool is that?
And it was with a group of people. So I think that's probably the only famous person I can think of. I suppose it's not, you don't, well, I don't know, you don't really call. Sorry, there was a big loud bang then. You don't tend to call out, do you, to famous people so much? I don't really know.
No,
I'm not so sure.
yeah,
What about you, Jackie?
I have, and I don't really want to mention who it.
Okay.
Basically, well, I will. Mm, I was doing a mediumship lesson, and the people were associated with this person anyway.
Right.
So basically, with the lesson, you sort of do messages, and straight away, Derek and Cora came through,
Oh, wow.
and I says, "I'm not doing this,"
Hmm.
because I knew the person and the
Yeah.
involvement and everything.
Yeah.
So I'm not doing it. So second time, I got this man coming through, blah 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 blah. Oh shit, it's Derek. So he
God.
did it a different way because he knew that if it's him, I go, no, I'm not doing this because it might in my head be a power of suggestion because I knew, you know, but
Yeah.
but then the next time I was getting the whole message, and then at the end, oh okay, and it was just so like,
Wow. Wow.
yeah, and
But then is it,
it's not something you. I'm not going to go and mention it. I've mentioned it here, but
yeah, yeah.
it's yeah, and it was
But I think
special.
that's a mutual respect, isn't it? That you've got the respect in
Yeah,
the first place, but then he's obviously got the respect for you because he did it a different way rather than
yeah,
putting
that's
it in a
right.
tradition.
Because
So that's
he knew
brilliant.
that I'd picked up on him, but I. If you're speaking to somebody and you know they've got a connection, you don't want to come out with stuff you know. You know what I mean? And
I do. Yeah.
but then he did it. So yeah, he did it a sort of different way, and
Wow.
yeah,
That's
like
amazing.
it was like exactly the same message. To be fair, but yeah, it's like right at the end, it's like oh, and it's
You
like
got it to
wow.
me anyway.
So this is a good one. Elizabeth the first and two of her ladies in waiting at
Goodness me.
Thetford. That's
Wow.
awesome, isn't it?
That is awesome, that. Goodness me.
That is brilliant. Yeah.
Wow.
I've actually seen oh God, Leslie Smith portray Elizabeth, and to be
Yeah.
quite, was it Mary? Oh God, who did she do? Mary? No, Mary Queen of Scots,
Yes, she did.
and she did it, but she's reeling out French and stuff, and I think it seemed like she had her around her because it was just wow. She just sat in the chair and just wow
I
went
think
for it, and it just seemed
she got the look though as well. When she does all the
mm,
makeup and everything, she's
yeah.
just got the look.
And
It's
I think she's
phenomenal.
got past life connection as well.
Wow.
And when she sat in that chair, and it it just engulfed her. It was
Wow.
fascinating, and wow, it was yeah.
I'd love to have seen that.
It's
Goodness me.
so special, yeah,
Wow.
yeah. So that was about February time, yeah,
What was it?
January time, yeah.
That's long ago then. Wow. Goodness me.
So it's just yeah. Obviously, Tutbury's gone now, and
Yeah.
we sort of don't quite know what's happening, and it's sad, but.
It is. It is. Things pop up though, don't they? As things go,
Yeah,
things
that
pop up.
is
So
it. Yeah, it was Mary Queen of Scots, and yeah,
that's
sitting
right.
on the throne, and oh my, that was such a yeah,
Wow.
mind blowing. It really was. Yeah,
Oh God.
but yeah, that's incredible. I was so happy, pleased to see that.
Just seeing that. That's a
Yeah,
sight, isn't it? Goodness me.
yeah, that's right. But
Wow.
yeah, but I want to thank you for the conversation. Anyway, it's been lovely. So,
It's been
if
my
you want to
pleasure.
book
Thank you.
on any haunted happenings,
Absolutely.
if you check out East Drive, you might actually meet Phil there.
Yeah, you might. Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for having me, Jackie. I appreciate me
Oh,
letting
it's
me
been nice talking to you, and
waffle to you about the paranormal because we all love it, don't we? But yeah,
Oh, cheers, Andy.
Oh, thanks, Andy.
Thanks for watching, Andy. But
Appreciate
go
it.
croaky now. But yeah, it's been a fascinating conversation, hasn't it?
Indeed. Yeah, we've got
Oh,
lots of conversations to have in the future, trying to get it all right. But that's what it's about. That's what it's all.
yeah, that's right. It's nice to have a sort of conversation where you're pushing ideas around, isn't it?
Indeed.
And yeah, it's just fascinating. But
Absolutely.
thanks everyone for watching, and
Yeah. Thanks, guys.
take care and look after
You too.
yourselves. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.